Hello, human peoples. You're listening to the podcast network of Gamefully Unemployed. To support us and gain access to great exclusive podcasts like Fox Mulder is a Maniac, Tom and Jeff Watch Batman, Star Trek The Next Futurama, and our latest show, Spiel Boys, head over to patreon.com/gamefullyunemployed. We do game streaming, movie nights with our patrons every Friday night, and you can even commission your own podcast about anything you want. Literally anything, within reason, and we have to do it. You are quite frankly out of excuses not to go visit patreon.com/gamefullyunemployed. That's patreon.com/GAMEFULLY unemployed, which is spelled like it sounds.
You have a cold open,
it's
right?
loose horse shit. It's like 10 minutes of loose horse shit.
No, you have real short horse shit.
Yeah. No, I say, hi, everybody.
We just watched.
I say, my name is David Bell.
And I say, your name is David Bell.
Yep. And then I say, and we just watched Turkey Shoot.
Okay.
And then I say some sort of joke to kick it to the trailer playing. It's usually not a great joke because I don't think of it right away.
So that's hypothetically how it would go.
Yeah.
So then let's just do that.
No, I think we did it.
Okay, great.
It is 1995.
Open season!
Hunting is the national sport, and people are the prey.
Michael, thank you so much for being on.
My pleasure. What an honor to fill in for Tom in an official capacity rather than as a guest, as a co-host. Takes me back to watching The Daily Show. You know, Craig Kilborn not being there, being like, who the fuck is this Jon Stewart character?
So you're
I was
the Jon
so
Stewart
mad.
to Tom's Craig Kilborn? That's what I'm getting from this?
I'll take it.
All right. I remember being pissed too. I remember being like, and here's the thing. I don't know if you remember. We can talk about The Daily Show for a second. Before 9/11, before we got really political,
Before
The Daily Show
everything
with Jon Stewart was like aimless in a weird way. Like, I remember he didn't immediately just do, because like Craig Kilborn, it wasn't really a political show, right?
No, it was a daily daytime talk show a la Leno or Letterman or Conan. Yeah.
Yeah, and Stewart kind of took that ball and ran with it.
And invented a
miss that.
fucking format, which I do think is rare on TV. So,
That is pretty wild.
Yeah. Yeah, people are gonna hate that I'm here is what I was driving at. I don't think I'm the good fit for this movie.
You know who doesn't hate that you're here? Our Patreon producer, yet another Steven. Thank you so much for your support. We have two Stevens, I think,
Dude.
We Just Watched.
Yeah.
So
I try to get out, but they keep Steven me back in.
Yeah. Yet another Steven had us watch Turkey Shoot. Thank you. And they requested you. Yeah, gobble, gobble.
Oh, if they requested me, then they're probably okay with my twisted mind.
Exactly. This is for context because I think, like, I was just talking to Will, who directs the Some More News, and he's a big fan of like weird, gritty '80s stuff. You know, Will. But the people might. And so I was like, I'm doing a podcast on Turkey Shoot, and he was immediately like, "Oh, that I just watched that. That's great." So, like, if you're a weird freak, you might know this film, but most people probably don't. It's a 1982 Australian dystopian film.
Point of order: is Will not a they them? Am I wrong about that?
Oh, I don't know.
Okay, I want woke points
Ask
for
Will.
checking you on that. Well, let's look into it later.
All right, we'll look into it later.
On mic, bro.
And then we'll give you your points.
Dude. Hey, at least hand stuff, something.
But yeah, it stars Dwayne Barry from the X-Files and Audra from the It miniseries. Does that scan with you or anybody?
I didn't recognize either of them. Is Dwayne Barry the hero guy, like the American guy? Okay.
Yeah, Dwayne Barry was famously was the reason Scully was abducted. He was an abductee who kidnapped Scully and basically gives her to the aliens so he doesn't get abducted. Very good performance. He gets murdered by Krychek. Spoilers.
A craven coward.
Yeah. And then Olivia Hussey, who is the lady in the sheet. If you remember Bill's wife in It, who gets she gets put in the cocoon and like he rides the bike at the end to snap her out of it.
Okay,
Do
that
you
I
remember
remember
that?
because we just covered it on King's a King. Yeah.
Yeah, that's that actress.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's so right away. It's one of those films. What I mean is like it's battle royale-esque death race.
Well, yeah, proto Hunger Games. But what's interesting is it's couched in, and it's interesting that we're doing this when they're having fascist riots in England right now. Although I guess it's technically Australian. Yeah, I really thought, because of the way it's framed and some of the dialogue early on, and I think just because of the state of the world right now and the news, and my brain was primed, I thought it would be real satire or satire that meant anything or was something. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Did you notice the villain's last name?
Thatcher.
That wasn't an accident.
No,
Thatcher.
But you don't get points for that. That's what I'm saying is that's all. That's all they had. It's nothing. The guy doesn't act like Thatcher. None of the stuff is a commentary on Thatcher's policies. And we'll get into it as we go.
Yeah. One of the 3 titles for this was Blood Camp Thatcher. They leaned into it.
I was like, for example, one of the key lines, their Joker line is, they're going to make citizens of us, obedient citizens. But why? Society.
Yes.
So my point is, I quickly realized, oh no, it's Running Man, it's Wake and Fright, it's a crazy Australian bloodfest hunting people movie. That's really what it is. And it's funny because through modern eyes, it does feel exploitative and cheap, that like it's pretending to be social commentary. But if you just set that aside and are like, it's just hunting people movie, it works on that level.
My theory is that Mad Max came out in the late 70s, and then it feels like there's so many movies like this, and it feels like Australia specifically
Dead End
was
Drive-In, yeah.
Yeah, and Australia specifically was like, okay, well, that's the type of movie we're making now. We're making Mad Max movies. And this feels like one of them.
Yeah, but it's like an 8-year-old. Like the government people literally go like, we will make you do as you're told. And they go like, systems, man.
It's like a Dead Kennedys song. Like it's very simplistic.
And they're
in its
all white.
authoritarianism.
And you're like, you couldn't even discuss any aspect of intersectionality. And there is like a beautiful blonde woman. They're like, why are you in here? She's like, for being a whore. Like, so it's so not woke, but being social commentary. It's quite jarring and funny.
It is. It's also like this is weird to say. They're going to a prison camp basically in this authoritarian government. The camp, I would argue, isn't the worst. What I mean by that was, there was every now and then there was something that I was like, oh really? Like it's like, okay, we're going to torture and kill you. It's thought crimes, and then they're like, by the way, like, you guys can fuck each other. Like, sexual relations are allowed, but just like hand stuff. Like, and I was just like, oh, like they have like the prison room. They have a shower room, and I was like, they're showering.
Yeah, they
have
shower. They have a Starship Troopers group shower room. And here's the line. So you hard cut to everyone naked in the shower, and a voice over the PA goes, this is after they've revealed, like, the offers so far are that the guards will full on rape you in public.
Yeah,
within minutes of you arriving, like a concentration camp.
And they're not picky.
It's that
like
brutal.
The first guard is immediately like, I'm gonna rape this lady, and then
the guy's like, don't rape her, and he's like, I'll rape you, dude.
Yeah, and he's just like, all right, you. And it was like, Jesus
and
Christ.
They're like, by the way, all the guards get their balls cut off, so they just rape for dominance. Like, they go out of their way to be like, there's no pleasure in it, I'm just raping you. And then it cuts to naked people in the shower, and a voice goes, oh, by the way, they're all here because they're deviants. We never find out what that means.
No,
don't know if they're gay or like what that means.
Yeah, we get implications by the opening flashbacks of what kind of. I'd say they're efficient in that, like, the first person is a woman who's just in a store that a guy runs in, and they're like, let's arrest you too.
Well, the first one's a coincidence. It's Brazil. It's like, and this society is so fucked up that you can just be shuffled into the concentration camp.
Yes.
And then the one guy is actually a rebel, but
Pirate radio
again,
or whatever.
in a vague way. He gets on the radio and goes, "Don't listen to the government, rise up." Like literally lines like that.
Right, it's very Neil Breen in that the politics are very vague,
You
but
don't
very
know
rebellious.
what they're protesting.
Yes.
So anyway, the voice in the showers. Promiscuity among deviants is not encouraged, but it is permitted within reason. But
like, what?
pregnancy is a punishable offense. Pregnant females will be aborted and sterilized, and the men responsible castrated. And you're like, so we do fuck or we don't fuck,
Hand
or you're
stuff.
pro
It's hand
fucking?
stuff only. It's
Okay,
hand stuff only. No, that's what I mean. Where it's like, listen, I'm not saying they're good. They do terrible things.
We're
in
getting
this,
raped,
but
or it's
they're
a free
like,
love orgy, or what's going on?
right? They're like weirdly malleable because later when they throw him in the death hunt, he negotiates with them. He's like, "All right, I want this, this, and this," and they're like, "Well, you can have this and that." And it's like, what's going on?
Yeah.
What kind of authoritarian government uses the term "within reason"?
And he has a whip, not a gun.
Yeah.
Like, so where are we? What's the system or level of organization? Oh,
Yeah.
And then can we talk about the freak?
Yes, we can. Let's take people through the story.
Yeah.
Also, I just want to know your broad thoughts. I still enjoyed this movie, for the record.
This is why I was like, I'm a bad fit for this network and
Yeah.
people will hate me. No, I thought it was stupid and boring, Dave, because Gamefully has a higher. We do dumb movies. We covered Safe House recently, but it's rare.
did.
And I've tried to broadcast for fairness sake because there's a healthy overlap with the crack diaspora audience of people who like bad movies because they're so bad that it's funny. I don't care. That doesn't get me off. So, no, I was bored the whole time. I watched it on 1.25 speed with the captions on so I could like
That's
make
fair.
it end that much sooner. But it is bad in a way that's funny to discuss. So this episode will still be fun.
Yes, I think the first half of this movie is kind of boring. Here's the thing: I generally don't like this type of film because of kind of the reasons
I
we're
don't like
saying.
Running Man, which is blasphemy.
Yeah, that is a little blasphemy because I was going to say the movies of the ones I do like, I like the cream of the crop, but I'm not like a junkie where I'll watch any old dystopian.
Right.
And so
it's
like
Safe House
Battle
and Neil
Royale.
Breen and a couple very classics.
Oh yeah, but like for the death Hunger Games shit, like
for
Battle
the most
Royale.
it all goes back to Most Dangerous Game, baby. But
Oh,
yeah, sure. Did you like
It's
the
just there's so
conservatives
many.
hunting liberals one?
Not really. No.
No, me neither. I forget the name.
The Hunt. And they've made a
Very
few of those
generic.
versions.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I mean is they're a dime a dozen. We seem to be making them once a year since the 70s. And there's so many.
And
they
every
flood the
like
market.
fifth one is like a Hunger Games where it goes real big, but they're always under the surface. There's always some like going
The new
on.
comparison, I think, are the weird horror movies where they're like, you have to shut your eyes or
Some
you have to
Final
hold on to this rope.
Destination are related to this, but not exactly the same lane. Yeah.
Oh, I mean like the Bird Boxes where they've been doing new horror movies where
you
they're
mean
like, here's an arbitrary
shade of this,
rule.
that there's a rule. Yeah. You got to stay tied to the house by a rope or whatever.
Yeah, like that's the new. We're flooding the market with this like genre.
I liked that
But-
Hush, where the rule was just, hey, you're deaf. That makes it harder. Like,
That was a great movie, yeah.
good movie. But back to this one.
Yeah, so the broad premise is that a group of prisoners in a vague dystopian world the rich people show up. And they're rich. The guy doing like a fancy man, he's like, "Oh, Charles, your
Mr.
strategy has
Wadsworth.
improved."
No, what is it?
Yeah,
Mallory.
the secretary.
Mr. Mallory.
They're playing large chess, where they're just like weird rich freaks.
Dude, they're playing large African appropriative chess. It's such
Yes.
a weird,
How can we make them as evil as possible, basically?
You're like, they stole that from someone because it's this
Yeah.
beautiful, like, tribal African chess set. You're like, I haven't seen, like, a black person around.
Yeah.
So,
that chess set is the result of many deaths and tragedy.
right.
And so, like, they have the rich people pick out the prisoners in this very oppressive, prison
It's
camp.
more of a
and-
libertarian. Ultimately, it's just like, we should have freedom. They hate freedom. That's the
Yes.
narrative of that's as deep as
Yeah.
it gets. Yeah.
The guards are so they do horrendous things to people a couple times, but they also kind of bully. Did you get the bullying? Like, it's always like the foreplay is bullying.
Yeah,
where,
like why are you
the
hitting
guy-
yourself style bullying, or
Yes,
like making
it's
you
like
flinch?
Playground. Yeah, when they make a prisoner, this woman recite like this prisoner motto,
And their prisoner
and the
motto
guard-
is like, "I suck. I am sorry. I obey.
I am a
You
deviant."
guys are great." Yeah, it's very basic.
Well, the guard who looks like the Indiana Jones like
Yes.
sub boss.
He looks like a barber from the 30s.
Yeah, he like fake punches her
With a sailor
like
tattoo.
like your big brother would do.
Yeah,
like he's doing, and he's going like,
butthead. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. But then he tries to rape her. They always try to rape him.
and then he beats her.
Yeah,
Yeah,
then the guy's like, which is because they repeatedly go, and the prisoners act smug about it. He goes, "I bet you can't even rape that guy. You don't have balls." And you're like, what a weird fucking concentration camp we're in, dude. So weird.
Again, it's like the attitude of regular camp.
Yeah.
Because and then later they light a man on fire and he's like crying, but before they light him on fire, they bully him. They have him hold these canisters and they keep like tripping him and going, "Go, you can't stand up."
Yes.
Like they keep every time they do something horrible, they first do like a playground bully.
Okay,
and it's
so
really
sorry,
weird.
but point of order on each of those deaths, real quick. Number one, after bullying that woman and slapping her around, he like hits her once with a closed fist and she falls down. And we dick around for a bit, and then we cut to her and she's bleeding to death. And you're
Yeah.
like, I did not realize that he did that much damage to her. And a guy goes like, "You want I should bury her, Mr. Ritter?" And he goes, "She ain't dead yet." And he goes, "I could do it anyway," which is creepy, but it's weird because like that dude
It's Dodge, the prisoner Dodge.
Dodge,
yeah.
which I love 80s movies because he's the guy who goes fresh fish when people come in. Like he's supposed to intimidate us, and you could snap this dude in half. That's what's
In
funny
fact,
about
that's
80s
what
movies.
happens to him later.
Yeah, he's nothing. And he's like, "Oh, I'm fresh fish." And what's funny is later, in one scene later, he's the guy who's like, "They keep us in here, man, and like freedom, man." And they keep,
I liked the idea, which is that I think the idea of that guy is that
It's
he's like
a
a little
shame,
stooge
dude.
with the guards.
Yeah.
And then when the guards are gone, he's like, "Yes, this is awful. They suck. This is what I do to survive." I think the point of the movie is about what people do to survive versus rebellion. Because there's, by the way, if it sounds like we're being really like casual about these horrific things, it's because the movie is like, it's such a whiplash of like silly stuff and horrific acts of human violence. And so it's hard to take it seriously.
And then, for example, the ball death, they keep going like, "Bring out the balls." And you're like, "What are the balls?" And they hook chains to the balls. And you're like, "What kind of crazy murder contraption is this?" And then it's that they kick the balls around and the balls are filled with gasoline. And you're like,
And they bully the
so
guy.
what's going to happen to the balls? Then they douse him in gasoline and light him on fire. And the balls also light on fire. And you're like, what the fuck was that?
And it's like, I don't mean to tell you how to do your job, but I think you can just pour gas on the guy.
You didn't need to do
It's
this all
weird.
with the balls. And it's not like you're hurting him. Again, like Dave said, it's like he's Sideshow Bob. Like you're just tripping him a lot and going, "Look at this fucking guy. He can't stand up and we all trip him and burn him alive." Isn't that stupid?
It's really weird.
It's great. It's great. I love this movie.
But all right, I think what the movie's supposed to be saying, because there's three characters at the beginning.
Yeah.
And one of them is, like we said, she gets arrested for just being there. She is innocent. I would argue, it seems like the movie would argue that everybody's innocent in the camp, all the prisoners.
Oppressed at least. But she's truly she was minding her own business, obeying Big Brother, and they still took her. Yeah.
And then this is where it gets weird, because like the woman who's like, who's like, I got arrested because I'm slutty. It feels like they want to punish her for being that. It feels like the movie is disapproving of it, which feels...
Well, she's also the everyman in the sense that, in, again, a broad childish way, she's the one who goes, like, "It's really this bad? Wow, they really, like, oppress people?" And the guy's like, "Yeah, babe." Like,
it is bad.
She's the one who's, like, getting woke by the experience.
Right. And then the third guy is the rebellious guy. He's the guy who's like, I started this pirate radio station. I'm actively fighting. And those two people proceed to give the third woman advice. The blonde lady is like, you need to learn to use what you got. You gotta play their game. Kind of like the weird wormy guy, Dodge. And then Dwayne Barry is like, yeah. And Dwayne Barry is like, no, you need to fight to your last breath.
And then, am I wrong about the accent parsing? But I feel so. The hero one, who's truly a hero, is the white American man.
He seems it.
Yeah, and I mean a hero to again, everything's to an over the top point. But I could free you, you could kill me. That's true, but you'd rather see me crawl. That's true too, but that's me though. Who are you? I'm the man you can't break. Ew!
Yeah. And by the way, he was born in Dallas, Texas.
He was what? Born in Texas. Great.
Yeah, he was. So yeah, he is.
And then the follow-up line is, I'm the man you've been afraid of your whole life. And indeed, he is like an unstoppable Mary Sue, perfect hero.
Yes. Oh yeah. So I think it's the battle of these two philosophies, which is like fight to your last breath, don't give them anything, versus if you just play their game, you can con your way out.
Or try to not be involved. Yeah.
Yeah, and the woman who is like, you should just play their game, gets just horribly punished by the end of
Jesus. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the movie, like we said, it takes everything lightly, and yet, because it's from the early 80s and we had a different relationship to rape, rape is fine. A rape's on the table. They invoke the specter of rape frequently, and
for people
but
wondering,
in a light
no
way,
scenes
in a way where
it.
they're not taking it that serious. It's like not treated as a big deal.
It's used as a threat. It never actually happens on screen and is usually stopped.
No, but it implies that like all the bad guys want to rape all the women all the time, and some of the men a lot at the time.
The first guard who looks like Cheech Marin.
They talk shit about it constantly. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, they won't shut up about it.
But they don't ever get it done. That's true.
Yeah, it never actually happens. And that's one of those things in a movie where whenever that shit happens, I'm like, just don't put it in your movie. Like, you don't need to put like every upsetting thing in your movie.
Right.
Like, I get that it's like we're trying to show that these guys are bad, but this movie also is doing stuff like, including a manimal. The movie is also over the top silly. So it's like, pick a lane, Like, are you trying to upset me? Or are you trying to have a Bond villain with a man animal?
Or are you just the most dangerous game? Because, man, I laughed out loud just of like the situation of it all, of me watching this movie right now when the two wardens are like, because they obviously have full control over the concentration camp populations, and one is visiting, Thatcher's visiting, and he's like, I heard about your interesting experiment, and they repeatedly do the thing where you write around it in a way no one would talk like this creative idea of yours will be a most interesting scenario, and I'm like, if it's just that they're going to hunt the prisoners, this is going to be so fucking funny. And indeed, it's just that they're like, now you guys run and we'll hunt you. Can you believe we thought of that? This crazy, unprecedented death game. They don't even it's the most basic possible. And then, because for a second, you think it's going to be a grounded, not well made, but it trying to be grounded concentration camp dystopia. And then they're like, okay, let's introduce the team of supervillain weirdos who will be hunting you. And they're like, there's a lady in a fabulous ball gown with themed bow and arrows that do different things.
Explode, yeah.
And there's like a gig-coated guy in a dune buggy with a Monster Man sidekick.
A Monster Man? All right, so we should...
I love this movie. It's so boring.
The Monster Man, so quick... All right, so first of all, his name is Elf.
His name is Alf.
His name is Alf. So it's spelled ALPH, like Alpha.
See, I was choosing not to even reveal that to the audience and just say his name is Alf.
When he said his name is Elf, I was like, the alien laugh form? What? Yeah. Because they keep saying Elf, and I'm like, I can't hear anything else but Elf. the fucking puppet elf.
Yeah, and I'm not kidding you when I tell you this is. You don't need to see him to imagine him exactly. It is Stephen Fry as a wolf man wearing a bowler hat and a tuxedo vest. That is what it is.
If you remember in Thriller when Michael Jackson turns into a werewolf,
it's those eyes.
He's one of he's one of the stages of that.
He's the middle stage.
Yeah, he's half werewolf. He has a man. I looked up the actor. He was in Crocodile Dundee, and he played a character named Dunk. So his big claims to fame is Dunk and Elf.
Dunk and Elf. And I don't mean to spoil his whole arc in one sentence, but it's so funny to say it quickly. His whole arc is he eats someone's pinky toe and gets cut in half by a bulldozer and he's gone.
That's
amazing.
Yeah. I wanted Elf to like join the other side.
I wanted him to be from Goonies, sloth.
Yeah, like a sloth.
Yeah.
It was. I rewound when they introduced him because it's literally the way they introduce him is the character like walks around a corner, looks shocked, and they cut to like a close up of his face, and I was like, "What literally is like?
Who is that?" And he goes, "A freak."
Yeah, probably found him in the circus.
I wish he didn't say I found him in the circus. I wish he just said a freak. But he goes, I found him in the circus. His name is Alf. He then explains it. And you're like, say less, dude.
Yeah.
Because he's also dressed nicely. He's a freak who cares what he looks like.
Yeah, he's in a suit. It is a wild offer that this movie makes. Because it's not like I don't know what Elf is. I don't know what he's supposed to be. There's nothing like Elf. He is if they said like we made him in a lab, I would believe that more. Where it's like, all right, it's the future, like they're making elves.
And now because I've seen Ricky-O, the story of Ricky, so I'm like, okay, now I understand this movie is a superhero future prison human hunting mashup. It's a Running Man. Now I'm on board and I understand what the movie is. This was the turning point.
And that's the thing is like that's why it's so weird because like it feels weird to laugh about all the opening stuff, but the movie is mostly over the top silly with these like
in
splashes of like
where you're used
Christ.
to it. You're like, this is basically normal over the top action, silly Australian exploitation. I get it.
Yeah. So they let the prisoners run free in the woods, which I feel like this is like your first villain mistake. Like, I don't know, like put them in a pen or something. Have it, this is going to go wrong.
Well, the big reveal is it's an island, so they could never escape in theory.
Oh, yeah.
But I love, what if we say no to the being hunted? Then you'll remain in this camp forever. I'm like, I thought it was a re-education camp, or do people not get out?
That's the same with the ball game, where they're like, "Do the ball game, or else we'll shoot you."
And then
everybody seems to know what the ball game. Yeah, everybody knows what the ball game is. So if I was that guy, I'd be like, "Yeah, I'll take the gun.
Fucking shoot me, dude! I'll swallow a bullet over the ball game." Anyway, so they pick the trio that we've been following, of course.
Right, and a couple extra people.
Plus Dodge,
Dodge, the wormy guy. He's the first to go. He gets killed by Elf, bites off his toe. This Bond villain guy and his Wolfman, he doesn't seem to enjoy the hunt.
It's a rape forward concentration camp. And they're like, how can we really drive this home? What does the monstrous genetically engineered freak do to take this to the next level? He bites a guy's pinky toe off. Weak. The villain
sauce. Even goes like, not to main toe, do the pinky toe.
Do the little toe.
Again, it's like weird because they're like, we're horrible. But then like when Dwayne Barry gets the Battle Royale, he's negotiating like the conditions where he's like, I want this long of a head start. And I want this and that. And they're like, you can have the head start. And I'm like, why are you giving him anything? Like, you just said you either participate or you're here forever. Yeah.
And then it turns out at the end that you planned to shoot them anyway. And there was no, because you're fascists. Right. Like, they weren't going to play fair anyway. Yeah, it's so weird. Continue.
So the Bond villain basically just rides around in this bulldozer, this little, like, bulldozer buggy. And he has Elf just run out and do all the work for him. He
has an Eddie Munster widow's peak.
Yeah, he really does. Look up the villains in this if you can.
They're great. I love the
his
lady.
name is Tito.
Yeah,
the guy, the character's name is Tito. He is all Widow's Peak.
Oh, I
yeah.
thought he was Charles.
That's
Charles
the main bad guy.
Oh,
Charles
the main
Thatcher.
guy. The Charles Thatcher. You're right. Okay.
I'm thinking of the Bond villain with the
with the
where he
buggy.
I don't know why he's hunting
Tito.
people from sport. He doesn't.
I don't know
get
how
out of
he
his
knows.
backhoe
I don't know
thing.
how he knows the other people, or like how is he at this concentration camp? How is that fabulous lady in the wedding gown involved in the bureaucracy? Like, who is she? I love when
Honestly, I was fine for them not to. I didn't need the lore.
again, say less. I love when
I was happy
Tito's
to not
like,
have lore.
so your thing is arrows, right? And she's like, yeah. And he's like, what's this white one do? And she's like, it explodes. And she shoots it. And you're like, well, it shoots sparkler sparks. I don't know that it explodes. Like, I don't know that it would damage anyone's body.
It just kind of lights a forest fire. Like
it does
it has like a
show.
like a 40% chance of lighting a fire.
Yeah. If there's some dry brush about.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, like the Tito just like he at one point he gets out to smoke a cigar while his Wolfman does all the work.
Oh, he does
so it
kill.
Just felt,
he kills Dodge with wrestling moves, with like
Wolfman
a
does.
Bane backbreaker. Yeah, I forgot he does kill someone.
but Tito doesn't do much of anything.
No, he just chills out in the car and smokes.
and like the cars, it's like I know. I
It's a
guess the idea is they're rich assholes.
They look
but I'm just like
exactly like I forget the name of the Hanna-Barbera cartoon team. The Zoomy Racers, those Looney Racers. You know what I mean?
They do.
They are literally just the live-action zany racers team.
Most of the rich people just drive around in golf carts on main roads, which, like, again, I felt like if you were getting hunted for sport by these guys, you just had to go like the woman in the dress
trail.
is the only one who's like, I'll go on foot. Like, and she's the only real threat, it feels like. Like, Dodge is just a dummy. Like, I feel like Dodge.
Oh, and we forgot Bald Adam Driver is there to get killed as like a red shirt. The hunter lady kills him. He has a gun and she has a bow and arrow. And I guess that shows her prowess, right? She beats gun with bow and arrow. But
And
she shoots each of his limbs one at a time as he goes. Damn it. Ah, damn it, you bloody bitch. Ah, god damn it, and my leg. And then she shoots him in the crotch.
Stop it.
And then he gets run over by a car. It's fucking
sure does.
Good kill, dude.
Yeah.
I forgot. I almost
like the
forgot
log
he was
trap.
with them.
Remember, so Red, the guard who's the Cheech Marin
Who took
guard.
the time to build that elaborate log trap?
I think our hero, because the idea is he steals. No, it's Adam Driver, isn't it? Because someone gets Red's walkie-talkie. Red is immediately taken out and hung upside down.
Red is the mustachioed whip-having ballless rape guard.
Yeah. And he gets hung upside down, and then the villain finds him, and by trying to get him down, triggers a log trap that rams right into his torso, and then he's hanging upside down, impaled by the log. It was very funny.
And it's a bundle of logs, the ends of which have been whittled into a sharpened point. So I'm saying that must have taken him literally hours. And he hoisted it into the air. Anyway, I also love that the guy is then just like impressed, like, oh, clever prey. And you're like, you expected him to do shit like this? I'd be like, wow, this guy's good. That's
right.
Very
No, he
impressive.
acts like, all right, this isn't my most exciting hunt, but it's up
he's
there.
good. He's good. Yeah, this guy's good.
Yeah. It's like, Jesus Christ.
And then he
how-
stumbles
how-
upon the blonde woman. And I support sex workers, but all I can say is this is clearly the direction the director gave her is now bathe in that stream like a whore would.
Well, she's all right. She's being hunted for sport.
Yes.
And she stops to
To
bathe
do
in
a
the
sexy
stream.
bath.
Essentially,
Yeah.
it was like, what are we fucking doing here? Again, she's punished basically throughout the
For
film.
being sexy. That's what I'm driving
Exactly.
at. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like bathe like someone in a movie in the 80s who's about to be punished for being a sex object. And that's that's what
exactly.
she does.
It's funny. The rich people do not fare well, and I wonder if the most sense I can make it is the warden Thatcher. Maybe like because the fact that he's not impressed by that log, my headcanon is that he uses this to also kill the rich people he doesn't like. Like it seems like he does this hunt, and the prisoners actually like just murder all the rich people too.
Often, or in this round,
seems that
they
way,
certainly
yeah.
kill just as many. Yeah.
So the lady being hunted is murdered by Arrow Lady,
Well,
like horribly tortured,
Horribly
assaulted.
and it's implied, again, shockingly, raped.
Yeah.
She goes like, before you die, I'm going to make you feel like you've never felt before, and leans in, and they cut away.
Yeah, and like licks her, and
she
it's
did
like, what
fucking
the
lady on lady
fuck?
rape, and then killed her with arrows. This is so dark, dude.
I really think they're going for it, because if you look at like what the covers of this movie looked like, they're going for the grimiest type of like
They're
exploitation.
saying the bougie people are secretly also perverts and awful and right. Or that's its.
Yeah, they're
they're
deviants as well.
hypocrites and deviants. And then there's an interchange back to the simple vague shit. Oh, they hate freedom. They're all sex freaks. Who? You know, man. Them.
Yeah.
No, movie. You have to say who. Like, you have to have a point. You can't just say that.
I think the overall idea,
It's
though, I
Thatcher.
do like.
They must mean Thatcher's government.
They mean
generally.
Thatcher.
Yeah.
I think that overall
They
point
mean
that there's like
fascists.
there's like a puritanical, fascist, rich class of people who act like everybody else is deviants,
And they're just
who
like,
turn out to be
fuck
freaks
those
themselves.
guys. Yeah, it's Squid Games. Fuck those rich asshole guys. Yeah.
Yeah, and the idea that like they're even weirder freaks than us, like, and so I get that idea. It's just it is very generic. All too like we didn't talk about the soundtrack. A lot of bongos. There's
a lot of
dude going
bongos,
ham
a lot
on
of
the
John
bongos.
Carpenter style, messing around with Casio keyboard effects. And I did write some of it. Like, I don't know if anyone listening to this is a fan of the I, Robot album by Alan Parsons Project, but some of the score I would fuck with, like, in the car.
Yeah. It reminded me of like kind of like 70s TV if it had that vibe, and not just the music,
Like
but like
drunk synth 80s.
yeah.
Yeah. Nostalgic for me. Like, They Live music. Yeah.
Yeah. Elf gets cut in half.
As mentioned, Alf gets cut in half. Mainly
by his own master.
the
because
main body
Dwayne
effect,
tricks him.
or like the main horror effect in this.
The foppish guy. He gets shot in the dick. I remember that.
That's
this
two
is where
people
we start
get
seeing
shot in the dick to death in this movie.
Yeah, it starts becoming the find out stage of the fuck around, right?
Is
where the
you
rich
get
people.
shot in the dick. Yeah, fuck you.
Yeah, they set a field on fire, which looked way too real. Where I was like, oh, I hope they did a controlled burn on set, because
Right.
that does not look.
I also love the hero guy to Ritter, who's the bald, like 30s sailor looking guy who's been hunting them mostly after burning the field.
The mini boss.
They
yeah.
get in a hand-to-hand mini boss fight, like with machetes. And
right, he
goes,
puts down the machete.
"Come on, fat man, you big fat piece of shit." And I gotta say, he's totally trim. Like, he's annoying. He's really a fit dude. And then
They're both skinny guys.
That guy goes, "After the fight, I'm gonna fuck your ass, boy." And I'm like, it's rape every time.
Yeah, every
Like,
time.
they
And
never
then
don't rape.
I will say what was really funny about this, because the other guy is it's the old timey weightlifter versus Dwayne Barry, and Dwayne Barry's going like, "You want to go? Huh? You want to go?"
Yeah.
And they time it so that he goes, "I'm gonna fuck your ass, boy," and he replies with, "Huh?
Huh? What?
Back
And then it cuts to a different shot real
which is
quick.
really funny.
Yeah. What did you say?
Yeah, because I wanted to like stop and go, "What the fuck, man? Why? Yeah, why is everything?"
Also, again, we
you fucking
established
my ass.
you guys have been castrated. Like, why do you want to rape so much?
Yeah.
Is it like overcompensating for the castration? And then they get in an underwater fight where I swear to God, the Foley of the splashing is someone like splashing around in their sink and just recording it in
Probably.
their bathroom.
Probably
It's
is that.
so funny. Overlaid on two men fully splashing around in water. And
Yeah.
it's just like this weirdly disjointed. And I actually just thought of, I'm just going to give shout out and props and flowers. Do you watch White Lotus?
No.
In season 2, there's an underwater fight where two people fight for a long time in the ocean trying to drown each other, and the camera goes underwater with them, and it's all one take, and it's fucking rad. And
That
this
sounds
is the
rad.
this is the opposite of that scene.
Yeah, it's hard. It must be hard to film something like this. I would argue for them, I'm like, just don't do it. Like, just don't.
You couldn't
if
pull this
can't-
off. Yeah.
Yeah. But I do like, so he gets his hands chopped off by the lady.
Chris is her name, I finally realized.
Oh yeah, I really like the severed hand look because they just stuck Jello in like a latex glove. It looks like a cartoon, like like in a cartoon where you slice someone.
Long time.
Yeah, where it's like the single bone and then all the red around it. It looks like that, and it's like jiggling. I really appreciated how dumb that was.
Yeah.
It was. Kind
and
of
then
gory
of course,
in a weird way.
The ubiquitous for a chew movie like this. Then they cut to him reacting to his hands, which are obviously fists balled up with extra long sleeves with some Jello in the ends of the sleeves.
It's real good, real premium shit.
Yeah, real high school horror shit.
And then she runs off with the machete just pointed forward as she ran. Yeah, it was like interesting. I get why they did that because the idea is like she's not used to violence, but it was a very funny shot.
And then the hero guy, Dwayne Barry, violently like chases her down and pushes her down into a sitting position, like calming a child, like sit down. And then he goes, "We can't run. If we quit now, everything we believe in will die." And I screamed, "What do you believe in? What has this been about? What is this regarding?"
It would be amazing if at the end he's like, "We did it. We can finally fuck animals again.
we can smoke in airports like we should be able to."
Where it's like, "Oh, they are kind of trash.
Cocaine is legal." Yeah, finally.
It'd be amazing. So they decide to fight.
It's okay to throw litter right out your car window now.
So they fight back. We see the blonde lady has been brutally murdered and stripped naked, and you're just like, Jesus fucking Christ, movie. Did she really need this to happen?
She shoved arrows through her body by hand.
Yes. Yeah, she has an arrow through her face.
Yeah. And we see her, which is honestly not threatening at all. We see her hold her at arrow point without a bow involved. Like she captures her by pointing an arrow at her neck and going like, "Don't move." Very weird.
Right. It's like, just, you can move. You can just run away.
You can just move.
I mean, we learn later someone jams an arrow. She gets a great death because she gets one of her explosive arrows jammed in her face and her head explodes.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's a great payoff.
Someone gets bazookaed. I forget in what context.
Yeah. Tito gets machete in the back of the head. They machete Tito.
Anime style. Yeah. Bisected head.
Yeah. Because basically now it's Dwayne Barry and the lady from It fighting back in this little dune buggy that, boy, is way more effective than it should be. They break open the prison. There's like these sentry guns.
Brings down the prison industrial complex.
It does. The sentry guns cannot hit shit for some reason. The government decides to bomb the camp.
Well, yeah,
which I
they're
thought like they were going to nuke the island.
You said it, but I just want to stress they have it escalates so quickly to, well, let's circle back to the prison and unlock all the gates, which I guess they gloss over it, but like one button unlocks all the gates or something, because within a minute now there's thousands of prisoners taking over the entire island. So we cut to the government being like, we got to bomb that whole island now.
Our main villain is killed in, I thought, a hilarious way. He's just in a shootout with Dwayne Barry, and Dwayne Barry manages to pop him in the head. From afar, his head pops like a watermelon, and then his body stands there for a second and then slops down.
Well, he shoots his body a few more times with the machine gun, some squibs, and then it just sort of slumps over,
It's so anticlimactic for the main villain, where I'm like, really? That's it? All right.
I see you across the battlefield. I shoot you. You're dead now. That's that.
Yeah, that was it. His fucking. It was an amazing head explosion.
Also, and then they're like, these jets are flying overhead with bombs. Let's run, and that works. They run from the bombs, and the bombs miss them.
That's what I was going to say at the very end. So they're going to bomb the camp, and I thought, oh, what a fun little nihilist ending if they like nuke the island. And it's like, we died, but we died free.
But it was a surgical strike on the empty prison camp, which is a weird thing to bomb when you're trying to suppress the population.
Right. I know this isn't this is probably a budget issue, but it didn't even look like it blew up the buildings that much. Like they set up some pirate. They look like it's kind of like the ladies' arrows. Like it's mostly like fireworks, like sparks.
Right. It's a budget issue, but yes, all the explosions in this are just spark throwers, which is hard to, suspend your disbelief about. And then it's implied with just like a shot and a look and a guy picking up a stick that you're like, they're going to live in the jungle now, I guess, or become like a rebel army that's holed up in the jungle, I guess. Or like, the movie just tries to be like, and they did it and they disappeared into the jungle. And you're like, well, that's not going to end well. What are they going to do on a jungle island? There's more jets, right? Presumably they have more jets. They'll send.
No, presumably they're going to, I think it is implied that they're going to start a resistance on the island.
Yeah.
But it does seem like it was weird because it's just like, I thought they'd bomb the island in a more efficient way to prevent exactly this from happening, right? That's the point of bombing the camp.
Firebomb the whole. Yeah.
But none of that. So, like, it's a really bad dystopia. Like, the government itself is clearly very incompetent.
It's the dystopia we're actually getting now. Yeah.
Yeah. But not on purpose. Like, it's not Brazil. It's like...
No.
It's like, look how scary this dystopia is.
No, I truly believe
like,
the true horror of the human apocalypse is that we're just smart and self-aware and organized enough to do all kinds of fiction and amazing, insightful commentary and jokes and sarcastic memes about destroying the earth as we fail to stop it. Like we're just going to comment on it as the ship sinks. Yeah. And everyone will be commenting on how crazy it is that all we can do is comment on it as it happens, and capitalism can't be stopped. And
we'll be playing that violin, playing that violin on the Titanic.
That's right. That's us. That's the kind of apocalypse we're actually going to get.
It's and I do think like there is maliciousness. Yeah, we're going to get turkey shot.
We're going to get turkey shoot.
It's a combination of like maliciousness,
stupid apocalypse,
and incompetence.
Yeah. Stupid dystopia, idiocracy. And it ends with a quote, "Revolution begins with the misfits," H.G. Wells.
Which is fine, I guess.
It's like a real quote that it didn't earn. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, again, what are you going to do with a movie like this? This is like, we've made so many of these. And I'm just happy that it kept.
And that's why there's no more fascism,
attention.
Dave. That's why it stopped.
You're right. Margaret Thatcher watched this movie and went like, "Oh,
my word! I better stop then, Pip Pip. I'm going to fuck your ass, boy." It's more of a Thatcher vibe.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. I'm glad they have an elf in there. Like that's my thought is like, if you're gonna make this, try not to make it boring. And it wasn't boring for
the
last half.
Me? Who? What? What is that? A freak. So that moment kind of made the movie redeemable to me.
Yeah.
Who is that?
The moment he introduced that should have been the movie, meaning like everybody should have been like, all right, stop everything.
To the perfect awkward medium close of the freak not being scary, just looking over like, hi.
Yeah.
And he goes, it's a freak. I got him at the circus. Like, you don't need more. It's none of your concern, all right? He's going to hunt the prisoners with me in a dune buggy, okay?
All right. You don't have to make it weird.
You have your weird arrows. Fuck off.
Yeah. I have my elf.
The rape guard, has his thing where he calls every single victim of darling little flower. We don't mention that. We don't throw that in his face.
Everybody has a thing.
We're all freaks here, okay?
We're all weird little freaks.
God, I also the genuine surprise of Chris, the woman who's like having this experience of waking up to the society. She says to the rebel at one point, "I thought you were supposed to do what they say." "No, you fight back. They want you broken." "Oh, okay." Well, you didn't think about that before.
I'm going to write that down real quick.
Yeah, I should make a note of that. Noted. Fight back. Understood.
It really does feel like a short story that a 13-year-old would write a little bit. where it's like real basic rebellion 101,
Yeah.
you know?
And the rapist
Which-
says, "Now I'll taste your honey, my little flower." It's like a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles villain rapist. Almost.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's good shit.
Yeah,
shit.
great film.
Great film.
I have nothing else I need to say about it unless there's anything else that any other final
No,
thoughts?
it's with bad movies, I like to just crack wise. I don't know that we need to unpack the meaning too much.
No.
I'll just re-recommend Dead End Drive-In, which I enjoy more than this.
Very well. I watch a lot of movies of questionable quality. And so, like, I think my palette is just of bad movies is wider range. So my thought on this is just like, at least I wasn't bored for a lot of the movie.
I completely forgot to mention a moment that must be called out, which is that when they kick the ball around and trip the guy for a long time, just tripping him. Before they light him on fire, this is signaled by the guy looking at everyone and going, "Touchdown." So I just want to cut to who invented this game. Like, what? It's like,
Listen,
then you
they're
tie
guards.
the balls.
They're
then
not
you
creative.
fill the balls with gas. Then when it's touchdown, you burn the guy. It's so good.
It's not really a game.
It's not a
like I'm not
game
sure who
per
won.
se, right.
You know, didn't feel like I did like their weird rock holding up rock torture. Where
with
it
the
took
pulley.
me.
So it's
Yeah, it took
reversed.
me a minute
When
to-
they take weight off, it gets heavier, which is
Yes.
very bad filmmaking. Like it
I was
doesn't
about to
feel
say,
right.
It took me a minute to like figure out what was happening, and that's never good because there's something less threatening about taking weight off. The idea is it's a counterbalance, so they're taking weight off of the counterbalance so that the other side is heavier, and that's what they're holding
Right,
up.
so it's a scene where you're like slowly applying more and more pressure to your hero, but instinctively on a gut level, it looks like you're implying less and less pressure to your hero.
It looks
that's
like the bad guys are taking
symbolism.
mercy.
Yeah. Very odd.
That's freedom, man. It's symbolizing like you can never break his spirit. You know, you're really taking those rocks off,
And you
is
can
what you're
tell
really
you
doing.
can never break his spirit because he says stuff like, "You'll never break my spirit." That's his vibe.
Oh, it's amazing. Amazing film.
All right. Well, much love to our British friends. Do punch a fascist if you need to in the street.
Well, like you said, these are Australians, but they did say Thatcher. I don't know what's going on over
It's
there.
all the same, dude.
Okay.
They're all the same.
Well, thank you to yet another Stephen.
Ireland,
I'm
Greece.
so excited.
That whole
You have a
area.
lineup of what looks like a lot of Australian weird movies lined
great.
up, and I'm very excited for those. So thank you so much for
Thank you.
gifting us Turkey Shoot. And Michael, thank you so much for being
Thank you
on.
so much.
Did you plug stuff at the beginning? I feel like we breezed through that, so you should plug stuff here.
Sure. Well, since I'm guest hosting as myself, I guess I'll plug the thing I'm really pushing right now because it's so important to me, which is my novel. I pushed it before when it came out in written form, but let's be honest, I expect even more people will experience it now that it's out as an audiobook now because our demographic are all in their 30s and 40s and like it's hard to read now. So
I've been reading it. You can see it. It's back there actually. You can see it on my Zoom.
Oh.
It's been
Where,
been a good
are you
read,
done,
but
or are you in the middle?
I might swap out for the audio because it's time. It's like you said, it's time where I'm like, I wish I could listen to it but I've gotten almost halfway through and I'm really enjoying it.
Well, the audiobook, I spared no expense. It was hundreds of hours of tedious editing. I narrate it, so if you hate my voice, be warned, but I tried to make it really polished, and you can find that over at our Patreon for our sister podcasting network, but also sometimes we do weird stuff like novels, Small Beans. So you can find all our free stuff by just pointing your podcasting app at Small Beans. Or
I'm sorry.
Oh, I was just going to say you can find the novel, which is called The Climb, audiobook or written version over at our Patreon shop. So click on the shop tab or go straight to patreon.com/smallbean/shop. It's called The Climb. It's a magical realist epic fantasy memoir about alcoholism, cracked, mental illness, robots, and
Yeah, I'm really
Magic.
liking the metaphor elements, the memoir elements, where I'm like reading it and going like, oh, I'm guessing I know what stage in life
you
we're
wouldn't
talking about
necessarily
here.
know it's a memoir if I didn't explicitly tell you that's part of the point. It's more like a fantasy sci-fi romp.
I'm really liking all the little lessons.
Thanks, dude.
I'm liking the way it's formatted.
I'm desperate to talk with my friends about it, but what's so funny is
I want to
finish
because
it's such an artistic expression of my soul. No one's read it. Abe hasn't read it. My wife hasn't read it. Because people don't read books. People don't read books. Yeah.
It's giving me it's not exactly the same, but it's giving me like a Douglas Adams type tone here and there where I really like. I'm really digging that.
I was going for Douglas Adams, Vonnegut, and Harlan Ellison.
Yeah.
That's the vibe I'm trying to hit,
but it feels wholly unique is what I want to make sure people know.
I did not think that. I thought it was kind of derivative of those three authors.
No, it's more of like, it's like Douglas Adams in the sense I'm like, oh, it can be dry in a way that's like, I could see like you should have done a British accent in when you recorded your audiobook.
That is my prose humor voice is kind of witty. Yeah.
Yeah, and it works. It works really well.
Dude.
I really like it.
Well, endorsed. So check that out, The Climb.
Yeah. And the patreon.com/gamefullyunemployed. That's where this podcast happened. We have we just watch episodes. We watch movies every Friday night as well, and we have exclusive stuff on there that we do with small beans like Spiel Boys and Star Trek The Next Futurama. And other stuff. Tom and Jeff watch Batman. No, I said that already. What's the last?
Fox Mulder's
Fox Mulder is a maniac.
Still kicking.
So check out
shortchange it. You still got some episodes left.
Oh, we got tons more.
Is there? Why? How much?
We
more?
got 2 seasons of the revival, which is more. It'll be done in like a year.
I did not know it got revived.
It got a revival.
I know about the Doggett years, but I didn't know the revival.
Oh yeah, it had a revival. 2 revival seasons. Okay. They're shorter. So that's where we're balls deep in that now. So yeah, check that out. And fuck them turkeys. Shoot the turkeys. Shoot them. Wait, don't shoot the turkeys.
No, the turkeys are fighting for their freedom or whatever.
We love the turkeys.
Stand for, yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Gobble,
bye.
gobble.
Gobble. Hey, listen, our music is produced by Chris Corlew. You can find him on twitter.com as the Corlew or go to shipwreckedsailor.bandcamp.com. Our channel artwork is produced by Michael Vincent Bramley. For more of his work, go to mvbramley.art. Our episode artwork is by Justin Brown, available on Twitter as Justin T. Brown or at artnessbyjustinbrown.com. And finally, additional artwork is by Starlene Hodge. You can find her work at starlenearts.com or on Twitter as StarleneX. Cool. Goodbye.